wonderful, whether it's in Greece or in Switzerland or other parts of the world, but I work every day. And I work for a period of every single day. And it's never out of my mind. I don't turn off for 2 weeks. And again, this is a lifestyle, but the exchange that you make is the ability to spend lots of time in different places that are quite wonderful places, but always connected. And different people will make that exchange in different ways. I know many people who want to just go away for 10 days and just completely blank out. And I just don't happen to do that.
Leslie.
Professor, muita gente tem ficado rica muito rapidamente com a internet. O senhor acha que é uma tendência que dura mais alguns anos ou é uma coisa muito efêmera?
Yes, what's not reported as often in the press is that a lot of people lost a lot of money on the internet too. The ones that did well have done very well, and of course there are a few examples where the accumulation of wealth is quite extraordinary. I think that what people have to look at is not the exceptional cases, but to realize that what the internet has done is it's showed people that with a little bit of energy and taking some risk, you can do things that previously were thought of as impossible. Like how could you have a global market if you weren't a huge company? How could you start something with a very low cost of entry? And there, one has to look at a world that has been created not because every child wants to be Bill Gates, but because children are seeing that maybe when they grow up they don't need to work for a large company or the government. Which, if you think about it, culturally, parents still, in general, hope that their kids will grow up and work in very secure situations for big companies and maybe even the government. That's changing very quickly.
Professor Negroponte, os provedores de internet no Brasil estão se aproximando da era do broadband e com a grande novidade da imagem na internet. Qual vai ser o impacto da broadband sobre a televisão?
Seria bom explicar o que é broadband para o telespectador.
O broadband, talvez seja melhor perguntar ao professor Negroponte como é que ele definiria, quem sou eu para definir broadband na presença do professor Negroponte.
Banda larga.
Well, broadband, as you know, is the capacity to deliver more and more bits, and bits being those little ones and zeros. Most people don't realize that when you read a book, and remember I'm a slow reader, but if you buy a novel, just a normal novel, in that novel are 10 million bits. That's a rough average for a novel. And it takes me a little over 3 hours to read that book. So my consumption of bits is 3 million bits per hour. If I look at digital television, I'm consuming 3 million bits per second. So my point is that there's really no relationship between the quantity of bits and the value of the experience. Because in 1 hour, I consume the same number of bits in a book as I did in 1 second of television. So there is no correlation between the number of bits and the value of the experience. And this is what people don't understand. They think more bits, the better. And in fact, many times we want less bits. We want fewer bits. And we want to send fewer bits, and we want our imagination to put in the other bits. And I tend to be much more enthusiastic. I'm not against broadband by any means, but I'm much more enthusiastic in getting lots and lots of people connectivity yes, everybody should get better connectivity, but if I were going to make an emphasis as a nation or even as a business, I would try and reach out and touch more people than necessarily focus on increasing the bandwidth of, a small population of people.
Mas o senhor não acredita, então, que com a banda larga, broadband, e a entrada de áudio e vídeo no computador com rapidez e com qualidade, o senhor não acredita que isso vai ter nenhum impacto na televisão?
No. Well, first of all, we've got to separate audio and video because audio doesn't take many bits. It's very small. There's this big jump when you go to video. So broadband will be what brings television and computers together, no question. But in the meantime, if I were going to set my priorities, I would bring narrowband to everybody versus broadband to a few. And obviously, everybody will have broadband eventually, so all I'm talking about is the rate at which it rolls out. And I happen to be very enthusiastic about narrowband going to lots and lots of people, basically to everybody. And obviously, I prefer myself, as most people would, to use faster systems and broader band.
E eu começo o bloco com duas questões que, de alguma forma, me parecem interligadas. É sempre difícil botar as duas questões juntas, mas, como são muitas perguntas em pouco tempo, Éder Cachoeira, analista de web, pergunta o seguinte: em relação aos portais completos que permitem à pessoa programar todas as etapas, por exemplo, das suas férias, e apenas um site da internet, apenas informando o lugar, a data e quantas pessoas vão viajar, qual é a sua expectativa? Que isso vá crescer, que vá se tornar, esses portais se tornem instrumentos importantes de entrada pela internet. E Lia Ribeiro Dias, que é diretora de redação do jornal Telecom, fala de uma outra questão que é a seguinte: a indústria está investindo fortemente no desenvolvimento do acesso à internet a partir de terminais móveis, porque trabalha com a projeção de que no futuro esses terminais vão ser a principal porta de entrada na rede, ou seja, que o acesso à internet a partir de terminais fixos do computador que a gente tem na casa da gente tenderia a perder terreno. Qual é a sua avaliação em relação a esse ponto?
Well, the two questions are only partly related. What is happening today is that on the web, people are able to broker information such that you can do some one-stop shopping, and you'll go to some place just because it's efficient, even though if you went to all the individual places, you could probably do better. And that's becoming a real business for many people. In the whole means of access today of the internet is still very much a wired world. It's connected terminals, and they are fixed more than mobile. The telecommunications industry, from the handset side, is becoming dominantly mobile and wireless. And what we'll find is that more and more that will serve the needs of people who have laptops and other data-hungry devices. And that shift will happen pretty rapidly. I know, and I put a very broadband wireless system in my own home, and it changed my life. It really affected the way one used it and how one socialized while being connected. See, it's not considered antisocial to read a magazine while someone else is looking at television, but it is considered antisocial to go up to your desk and type, turning your back on the... And you start to find different behaviors that occur with sort of new kinds of terminals that are much more part of the wireless world.
Luciane, tinha uma pergunta, é isso? Gus.
Você disse uma vez que você gosta de tecnologia, se interessa por tecnologia desde pequenininho. e que você, na escola, gostava muito de matemática e de artes e por isso você resolveu fazer arquitetura, você fez um curso de arquitetura.